All right, so let's kind of skip over the intro and hope you're well and all that stuff. And I do hope that each and every one of you are doing great. Hopefully you're doing amazing, and you're just prospering in your own way, and that you're just in a good headspace, in this day and age, in this time right now. But so I decided to come on here on YouTube because most of the places that I post my content, like Twitter and Instagram and TikTok and stuff like that, um, you can only put so much time into those videos. And over here on YouTube, this is the king of kings when it comes to pre-recorded videos and content. So it only makes sense to come here on YouTube to make this type of video that I really just want to take my time and talk about. So, I haven't streamed in like almost about 3 weeks, and that was like over on Twitch, that is. That was completely unplanned, and I had every intention to come back that previous week and just continue the schedule in which I created and just keep it going. I had plans for this month of November to stream nothing but Nintendo games, and that's it. And I also had plans to do a 12-hour stream for my birthday, which I haven't done in like, I don't know, maybe a year and a half, give or take. I kind of struggle getting through three-hour streams nowadays because I don't do this like I used to do. Um, it was a couple of weeks ago where I don't know, like something just clicked, and my desire to want to stream just it just faded for the most part. It went away. It just faded. I really don't have an explanation as to how it occurred in that day and time. But all I know is that it made me come to the conclusion that I don't think that this is for me anymore. I don't think that streaming on Twitch is something that I can really afford to do at this point in my life. And I always used to say that I'm not going anywhere. I'm here to stay. I've said that vocally so many times. And I never thought that I would be here today making this type of video saying that I think that this is it for me. Now, some of you may be scratching your heads as to, why and how did this happen? How did you come to this conclusion? Sit back. I'm going to sit here and I'm just going to talk to you all and just be 100% transparent, 100% honest, and just let everybody know that truth be told, I don't believe that I should have even had started live streaming on Twitch. Like I just don't believe that it should have happened. I talked to my sister a couple months ago, and we all started doing this together back in 2020. My wife, myself, my sister, and her husband, and we started um, just having something to do for fun. 2020 was a very devastating year for my family. My stepdad passed away earlier that year. My mentor died about 4 months after that. and my great grandmother died in December of 2020. So, and she was the one that was responsible for raising me. So, devastation, loss, just a lot of sorrow was involved with the year 2020. And that was the year that, I have been watching Twitch for a number of years, just myself, just watching, and never really had any desire to really do it until the end of that year, where, I started seeing that there were people who were streaming a lot more. And I'm assuming because of the shutdown, a lot of people were out of work. So you saw like this inflated number of individuals just getting into live streaming, and it piqued my interest. So I brought my sister, her husband, and my wife aboard, and we started streaming. And long story short, we it ended up causing some problems in my family, like between me and my sister, and we had a really, really big, bad falling out in 2021, and then I just vowed that I would make this work. I don't need anybody's help. I can do this on my own, and then that's exactly what I did. And I gave so much of myself, so much of my time to streaming, going to streams, making content on various different platforms. I did so much. I gave so much with very little in return. And, one of the sayings of streaming is you shouldn't really expect anything. Nobody owes you anything. And I had to learn all of this stuff from these so-called gurus and all of these people who've been streaming for years upon years, and they have these successful YouTube channels, these how-tos, these how do you get more viewers, how do you do this, how do you do that, going into different Discords, joining different groups, just trying to get myself out there, much like a lot of people. And I just invested like a lot of my time that year. And I just really gave all, I want to say just about everything I had. I feel so guilty because around that time, I was always on Twitch, like all the time. When I would be at work and I would, have my phone out, or I would come home and get on a laptop, my computer. I had my computer, my setup here, and then I specifically bought a laptop just so that I could support people, like if I wasn't home, with having more tabs. I did that. I bought a computer which I never used for anything other than that, and then that just got old, and I gave it to my kids. So yeah, I bought into all of this because I had goals. I wanted to become a partner. My numbers were very high. The average was growing. I had a lot of momentum on my side. And then I would say maybe around the end of 2021 or the beginning of 2022, that's when I started noticing things were changing in my life. I started, I just got very busy with work. And just a little background on me, like before I started streaming, like I was doing a lot of YouTube, and I was doing YouTube ministry. Some of you know, some of you don't know that I am a believer in Christ. Jesus is my Lord and my Savior. And I've always tried my best to like make that known in the streaming world. And I know that in the streaming world that's not very popular because there's a lot of secularism, there's a lot of toxicity, there's a lot of just worldliness in the world of streaming, which is another, I'll get to it in a minute, another reason as to why I'm taking my leave, because I just don't really feel like I have a place on Twitch. Not for my nature, not for the way that I am, constantly trying to force myself to be around people who just really don't see life from the perspective that I do. and who don't necessarily share the worldview that I do as well. I see a lot of like so-called Christians on YouTube, excuse me, on Twitch, but their actions say otherwise. The things that they condone say otherwise. They just don't seem to be just true followers of the Word of God. And I am somebody who takes my faith very seriously. I've taken it serious ever since 2012, and I just don't joke with it. But when I got involved with streaming, it took me out of the will of God. And I really, just like my sister told me, because ever since, like I said, me and my sister fell out, but we have reconciled things. And we talked a couple months ago, and she said, 2021, it should have never happened. Like, it should have never happened. And that kind of stuck with me. Like, you're right. Like, I don't think that, we should have did that. And it's not that I'm saying anything is wrong with streaming. There's a lot of people who do amazing streaming, but I'm not everybody, and I just don't feel like that was something that I should have just gotten myself involved with. I should have stuck to doing, what God wanted me to do in the first place, which was make Christian based content. Some of you may even know I do have another channel, which is I would like to consider my main YouTube channel. I will put a link in the description of this video if you're interested. That is, I've always made it tried to make it a priority to not push my views and my faith on people, because people are already like weary about that type of stuff. But then I started having these thoughts like, it's almost like I'm suppressing who I am just to please other people. It's almost like I'm not being who I'm called to be just to make other people happy, or just to keep people from being uncomfortable. Like, don't talk about God too much. Don't do the Jesus talk too much. Don't talk too much about the Bible. People are not going to come to your streams. People are not going to want to be around you because they're going to think you're a Jesus freak and all of that stuff. The Bible tells us that in the words of Jesus, whosoever shall be ashamed of me, I shall be ashamed of in front of my Father. But whosoever shall profess me in front of man, I shall profess in front of my Father. And that verse always sticks in my head, when I'm in different places. So I have to always let it be known that I am a child of the Most High God, and don't care what anybody says. I have nothing to be ashamed of. Just like anybody who has been saved by the blood of Christ has absolutely nothing to be ashamed of. But I feel like I definitely put myself in an environment where there's just a lot of ungodliness, and it really, really started bothering me, especially this year. And I just have got to this point where I I was forcing myself to do this. I was forcing myself to stream. I was forcing myself to show up, to go to people's streams and stuff like that. And I really wasn't getting a lot of pleasure out of it like I was back in 2021. And I keep referring back to 2021 because that was probably my best year when it comes to streaming, at my absolute best year. And 2022 was when I started declining and nosediving. And that was also the year where I just really started seeing that people are not who they are. And that's another reason that really, really, really made me want to just get away from this all, because of the disingenuous actions of people that I thought were cool, that I thought were friends with me, who were nothing more than liars and manipulators who wanted to get their way. And I just don't have time for that. Like, I don't want to give any type of energy to those type of people. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, this year, my wife, she'll tell you that I I don't really go to streams like that anymore. I don't really make streaming content anymore, and the desire to even want to continue is just not there, because if I can't think of a legitimate reason to do something, I will always let it go. And justified doing this for 2.5 years. Actually, 3 years, because this is November. I began in November of 2020. And I justified it up until this point of, hey, you can go far. You can make extra income to supplement, to take care of your household. And you never know what opportunities that this is going to open up for you, what doors this is going to open up for you. And it just really seems like the doors that it could have potentially opened up were doorways to places that I didn't want to be. Places I didn't want to go, to be around people that I didn't want to be around. Who were doing things that I didn't do, or things that I don't do or don't condone of. Like, I'm not gonna put myself in those situations and in those predicaments just to say that I was around the popular people, or whatever the case may be. I'm not doing it. Like, I'm not gonna compromise, who I am for that, for no one. And since I've been doing this, I've seen so many people that I knew who stepped away from streaming, and I get it. I understand now. Like, there's just something that occurs that makes a person really rethink and reevaluate how they're utilizing their time when it comes to doing all of this. Some people look at this as everything. Other people look at this as something to do. But I don't want. It's not my everything, and I don't want to look at it as just something to do, because how we redeem our time. I had a brother in Christ who just sent me a message right before I made this video, who said that there's a lot of people who are not redeeming their time properly. And some of you may disagree with this, especially if you're a streamer, but when I started feeling like streaming was a waste of time, I knew that was it for me. I knew it was over, because there's definitely been time periods where I could have done this. And my wife's like, well, you could have streamed today. You could have streamed today. You could have streamed today. And I was like, yeah, I know. I just don't feel like it. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired. Which, mind you, I really am tired legitimately, because, I work like 10, 12 hours sometimes a day. And I have a lot of clients. And then, of course, I got children. I'm trying to raise my kids the best way I possibly can, because I love them to death and they're growing up, and I need to cherish them while they're still young. Today is one of my kids' birthday, actually. He just turns 10, and he's just growing up so fast, and I don't want to like lose out on any of those memories. I feel like I lost out on some of that a few years ago when I started doing this, and because I gave too much to this, way too much. There was a family who started streaming a couple years back, not long after I did, actually. Husband and wife, their kids were actually doing it too. It's the first time I ever seen like a whole family streaming, and they were doing wonderful, really good. And the wife was taking off because she was very funny, very, very talkative, and she could keep a crowd. I remember they took a step back because they started noticing that they weren't really giving their children any attention, because one of their sons vocalized that they felt like they were becoming depressed and they felt isolated, and that family took a step back from streaming. They tried to come back some time later, but that didn't last. I knew that after that first time that they stopped, that probably was going to be it for them. But when they tried to come back again, it was probably because they had an urge to do it, or they just missed how fun it was. But I think that they missed the point, that it was just something that they couldn't afford to do as a family anymore, because it just required so much time and so much energy. And there's a lot of toxicity that goes into streaming as well, that a lot of people just refuse to talk about or acknowledge, because some of them love to function into chaos. That family has left Twitch completely. They've left socials completely, and I don't really know how they're doing. I hope that they're well. Hope that everything is good with them, and I understand now. I get it. I do. But I told my wife that when 2024 came around, that was probably gonna be it for me. when it comes to streaming. Like I had already made up in my mind that that was the year I was going to quit completely because there's a lot of I have a lot of responsibilities right now. You know, my family first and foremost are priority number one. They are the most important people in my life. I'm going to do what I have to do to take care of them. I'm going to make sure that they're good. And I'm going to make sure that I do my part as a father, as a husband, a protector, a leader, a minister of my family, of course, before anything. And that means that, there's, like I said, there's a lot of opportunity I have as far as work. You know, God's been really, really good to me in that regard. And I'm happy. And I just see that the direction in which I'm going, I'm not going to be able to do this anymore. Like, I'm not going to be able to keep this up. Like, there is absolutely no point in me continuing to do something that I'm not passionate about anymore. There's no point in me continuing to do something I have no interest in anymore. There's no point in me doing something that I personally feel is a waste of time. Again, some of you may feel the opposite, and you have a right to, because that is you, but this is me. And this is how I feel about streaming. I have given it 3 years of my life. I have invested time and money into this. I've given a lot of like energy to this. But it's not all bad. You know, I've met some amazing people. I've befriended some great men and some ladies too, through this journey. But it also opened my eyes in regards of, you really learn who cares about you when you're gone. I haven't utilized Twitter in almost a month, just about, and hardly anybody's reached out to me. Like, out of almost the 7,000 followers that I have, less than 0.63, whatever the lowest of the lowest percentage of individuals have reached out to me. And that right there to me was like the nail in the coffin. Like, okay, I'm like, people don't really care about you unless they see you show up for them. And I don't want anything to do with that type of relationship. That's not a friendship. That's not a relationship. That's just, that's selfishness at the end of the day. And I'm okay with it because it opens my eyes as to who's who and why they do what they do. And it's just the fact that people are just, they are who they are. And a lot of people really don't care for people like that. And I don't have any patience for that type of behavior whatsoever. You know, I've been very vocal about that on here and on TikTok and on Twitter as well. But, enough is enough. And I really don't want to deal with people anymore if this is the way that they're going to be. So what's next for me? To be quite frank, I really don't have any use for this channel anymore. This channel is not growing. It has stagnated at 350 subscribers or 52 subscribers for like a long time, like a really, really long time. And this is despite putting up shorts. This is despite making videos. I kind of just stopped making videos for the channel because I just feel like, what's the point? Like, again, there's no passion there. And if there's no passion, then there's no drive. And if there's no drive, the desire for me to want to make content for this channel is not going to exist. So, like I said, I don't really have any use for this channel. I don't know what I would even put here, truth be told. Like, I really don't, because even though I do game offline, I do play a lot of games offline. I don't really see a point in recording any of it. Why? For what? Like, I just want to enjoy it with everybody who I play with, whether it be my wife or people online that I know, and just play offline and enjoy. I don't really have a reason to record my gameplay footage anymore. So I don't know if I'm going to like just get rid of the channel or just kind of leave it here or just turn it into something else. I really don't know. But what I do know is that my focus definitely is going to go into my other channel, which again, I'll put in the link in the description, my main channel. If you're interested in continuing to follow me, if you want to get closer to God, of course, I'm your guy. Just come on over to the channel, subscribe. That's where all my energy is going to be going. Also on TikTok as well. I'll put the link to all of the socials of my ministries in which you can find me on different platforms, and I'll check that out. So I will slowly but surely be leaving Discords. Please don't take it personal if I leave your Discord. It's not you. It's me. It's me. You didn't do anything wrong. It's just me taking myself out of the equation of an environment that I have no use for and that I don't contribute to. So that's me doing what I have to do for me, my mental health as well. I will keep my Discord just in case anybody wants to keep in contact with me and play games. And I still may host some anime nights, and I still want to keep in contact with people. Don't get me wrong, like I really do want to still mingle with the people that I've met in this space. I just know that that's a very small number of people, which I am fine with. It's just like I told my son the other day, like if you have more friends than your hands can count, then you have too many so-called friends that they're really not your friends. They're more so associates. You can count your friends on one hand, and that's how I feel about it, and that's about right. My wife she's still streaming, but I can see her being swayed possibly in the direction I'm going in. I try to encourage her, like, don't stop because I'm stopping, but she constantly reminds me, well, I started this because you did. So it would be nothing for her to just stop. She's always done it for fun, and that's it. So, and I don't really feel like the world of streaming has been too fair to her either, to be honest. I really don't feel like it has, and they really don't deserve her. They don't. But yeah, this is about almost a 30-minute video. I have been thinking, how do I want to like come out with this? How do I want to present this? What do I want to say? Do I want to put it in a tweet? I could have done that, but I felt like, utilizing my gift of speaking and just talking to every one of you out there about, what's on my mind and where have I been. I've been gone for like just 3 weeks, and when you would think if you were gone that long that there would be more people reaching out to you, seeing where you were, like no activity on Twitter or anything, and I end up getting messages that are completely irrelevant to checking on me and my family, and that's a nail in the coffin, truthfully. But anyway, I'm gonna leave you with this. Do not let anything that I've said sway you from pursuing your dreams. Some of you out there really, really love this. I see it in your face. I see it in your work. And some of you are amazing streamers and content creators. You are great at what you do. You are perfect at your craft. There are people who believe in you so much that they were willing to support you financially. They're willing to support you emotionally. They're willing to be there for you if need be in any type of way. And I think that is a beautiful thing. I think that's amazing. And if you feel that this is your calling, then continue. Give it your all. Push forward because the world does need streamers. I'm just not one of them. But I will continue to root for my friends who want to continue to do this. My friends, not people I've met in streaming or just associates. The brothers and sisters that I've come across that I really care about, I'm going to continue to root for them. And I'm going to continue to be there for them when they need me. Even if I'm not present physically in a stream, which I'm really not going to be in streams. So, I know some of you feel some type of way about people who don't come to your stream, but I'm not coming because I don't want anything to do with this anymore. So, and that goes for the mass majority of people that I've come across. Because again, a lot of people have shown me who they are. And again, you really learn who cares about you when you're absent. So I could have been dead and no one would have even known. And you don't forget that. You don't forget it. It's been fun. It's been real. streaming has opened a door. It has opened a door for me that I did not have open to me at first. It has allowed me my own studio space, which I didn't have before I started live streaming. But now I can utilize everything in which I've invested, into for the kingdom of God and to bring Him glory and to get the message of Christ across the world. I'm Nishal D, aka Spencer D. Henningberg. God bless everybody out there. Y'all be safe. And I will put a link in the description to where you can contact me, of course, Discord, my socials if you want to keep up with me. Or if this is the last time you ever see me because you don't care for that part of my life, I bid you farewell. Peace.